Hello and welcome back to Read Becca. You're here again for a chatty catch up on my week. Let's talk everything I read, everything I'm currently reading, and what went on in my week. First, we have my two readathons that I'm participating in, our new releaseathon and Garb August. So I already read Kaiju Preservation Society a little early and counted that in for both because it's a new release and it's kind of garbage. It's about kaiju. And so continuing on my new releaseathon reading, I finished on audio A Mirror Mended by Alix Harrow. This is the second book in the series following Spindle Splintered, and it's a very bright color, so I'm gonna not hold that one up. So I liked it. It was fine. It's pretty much my feeling on this. It didn't blow me away. There's nothing really phenomenal about it, and I think it was too short. This is a novella to really engage some of the themes it was trying to. So I thought was going to be more of a companion novel, and it is not. You must read the first book for this to make sense, I think. It is a pretty self-contained story, but you definitely need to know the main character, Zinnia's backstory, to get anything out of this, I think. So Zinnia previously had this whole connection and analog to the Briar Rose story and was going to college with a specialization in kind of folklore and fairy tales. And so she has that real depth of knowledge in the topic. So after the previous book, without going into major stories, she clearly, as the premise of the first story, gained the ability to go into other universes, to travel and visit other versions of the Sleeping Beauty story. And so she has been doing that continually for years now. And so the jumping off point here is that she's kind of using that to delay her own life. And during one of these times, she sees through a mirror this other woman and gets pulled into the mirror and turns up in not the Sleeping Beauty story, but the Snow White story, with the evil queen having summoned her through the mirror. And so this is very much almost entirely her interactions with this evil queen, and evil queen kind of wanting to escape her own story. So I thought the interactions between the two characters were good. The fact that the evil queen is very charismatic and alluring to Zinnia is really interesting, the way that plays out. But I didn't feel like they really got to know each other at any point. Like, they spend so much time intensely together, and they're all talking about the intensity and tension of their role in the story that they've been assigned, and they don't actually talk about any personal stuff. They don't talk about who they are as a person. So that I didn't buy into. I also did not buy into the fact that Zinnia just can't seem to accept the idea that the evil queen wants to change her story, when Zinnia has been doing exactly that for all of these other characters in stories. She's been traveling through universes and changing the story's end because she thought that was the best way. And here she just can't accept that that's the character's desire, is to change their ending. I feel like that would be a very obvious thing for her to accept and to want to help with, because that's all she's been doing for years. So I didn't totally buy it, but it was fun and entertaining. I do think that having done the first book in print and the second in audio, I know I probably missed out on some beautiful artwork as well. I think the writing style didn't suit as well in audio because it's very first person present. So it's her in her head narrating what she's doing exactly as it's going along. And I think that worked a lot better in print for me and seemed a little clunky in audio. So I think I missed out on a couple of things by doing this in audio is what I'm saying. So it was fine. It was fine. And I talked about that one much longer than I meant to because it was just fine. So another one that was ultimately just fine was actually a reread for me. And that was The Son of Eaglefriend by C.L. Murray. And this is the third book in the Tales of Eaglefriend series. Now, I am a beta reader for this series, so I read this before it was published previously, and I've enjoyed this series as well. So this is a very traditional fantasy series. The first book is almost Lord of the Rings-esque. It's really an outcast becomes a hero, big epic fantasy journey, and kind of magic swords with like named weapons type thing. Then the second one turns a little bit more gray and military fantasy as well, and this one continues along that line. So the kingdom has been at war for a very long time, and there's conflict happening at all levels pretty much. And we've jumped 17 years, I think. And so that was kind of the crux of what made this a very middling book for me. The second was my favorite. This story is about the sons. It's in the title. So we've jumped 17 years from these babies that were just born to now they're basically adults. They've been trained and grown up in this warring kingdom as kind of military individuals, and these two sons are finding their role in the kingdom. And I felt like, for me, I had just become attached to the characters from the previous books and was not as much attached to these two sons. And all the previous characters are now kind of background. They're on side characters. So for me, it lost some of the charm that I had, or the connection that I had with the previous books. So this was just fine. And I didn't buy, again, some of the things that were done for dramatic effect, really, in terms of the drama and stakes ramping up in this story. But I'm not really a traditional fantasy reader. I like stuff that's doing really new, fresh things, and this was not. This is very much traditional fantasy. If you want that, like, this is really going to deliver on that. And I still think that the big win of this series is the relationship between these human characters and the eagles. So we have eagle riders, eagle masters, and this race of eagles who it's a symbiotic relationship. They're not meant to be like servants or slaves, but they have entered into an enslaved role. And so this book is that conflict coming to a head, where there's been enslavement of this eagle people. And so I really liked that part, where the dynamic turned and it finally came around to their enslaved uprising, basically. I didn't like very much of the rest of it in terms of like it really winning me over, but it was a fine read. It was great in terms of the length being pretty quick for it packing in as much as it did. So it's a pretty coherent story in just about 200 pages, I think. So I'm beta reading the next book. So this was a reread just to prepare for jumping into that, and that will be the finale, I guess. So yeah, jumping into book 4, and really interested to see how all of these plot threads from this story do wrap up. So then in my print books, I grabbed Elatsoe, and this is by Darcie Little Badger, and art's by Ravina Kai. And it has some really glorious like chapter header art as well that she did. You can see that. But this was a big missell in terms of the art. I thought this was going to be maybe wintry based on the art, much more mythic and wildernessy, and it is not. It's not at all. So this is entirely just straight up urban fantasy, like it would fit with Dresden Files type stories, that sort of standard mystery plot with paranormal elements is what this is. So I was not getting what I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away as much as I thought it was going to, and I think at least part of that was my frame of mind this week reading it, because having some things emotionally going on and not really wanting to read a grief and death story. So this is all about this young girl, Ellie, or Elatsoe. Most people could just call her Ellie, and she's in a normal city town in modern day, and she and her ghost dog, so it was her former pet, who she is able to summon dead things, and she kind of brought back this ghost dog, Kirby, who hangs out with her. And so she's able to make him visible, or kind of stand out to people. So it's an accepted thing that there's ghost and paranormal elements. It's much more like that in terms of everyone around knowing there's paranormal things, versus other urban fantasy where it's a hidden world or masquerade type situation. So everybody knows it's an open secret. But when her family member dies it has sort of questionable circumstances around it. And so Ellie and her ghost dog and her friends start looking into this death and trying to figure out what's going on. And of course there's ghosts and vampires and shifters in some ways, but with kind of an indigenous flair to it in the way that that's implemented. So that was great. I think the kid friendships made sense. They seemed realistic, and I liked the way it's delivered here. The adult and kid relationships were so well done because they take her seriously and they actually listen to her. You can tell that they're actually processing and seriously considering the problems that she's coming to them with. Like, she doesn't keep secret what she's doing at all. Everyone knows she's kind of looking into this, and everybody's like encouraging her and telling her to be safe and like making sure to check up on her as she's going about this. And so I thought that was great and very, very different from what we usually see in a lot of YA middle grade, where the kid is investigating something they maybe shouldn't be and they keep it a secret and that causes them trouble. Well, here everyone was very supportive. They even get elders involved to kind of help consult her with the problems she's dealing with. And I thought that was just really fantastic how engaged the adults were actually in this book, because that is not the case usually. So I thought that was great. I think, at least in part, I didn't connect with this because of emotional stuff that's going on with me. So it ended up being really fun and really enjoyable, but it didn't really stand out as like a new favorite. And I think I kept comparing this to City of Bones by V.E. Schwab. So I think if you like that, you would probably like this. This, for me, was a lot better. It has much more room to breathe. Like, you can see this is much longer than City of Bones. City of Bones is real slim. And in that story, where she's having this kind of relationship with the dead, we're seeing that here, but it's much more fleshed out, obviously, by having much more space to breathe in the plot. We also have the fact that the characterization is considerably better. Where, and obviously that's back to the length again. I think in Schwab's case, she was really hammering on character quirks and like specific character elements. Like the character's really obsessed with Harry Potter, and so she just keeps hammering at that. Here we get a little bit more like elements of the character built out slowly over time. So this isn't super action-packed, and it's very slow paced, and you're really figuring out exactly what happened in this community. So I like that. I feel like I didn't really understand the ending. That's kind of the main negative element, I would say. So like it just sort of wrapped up, and I was like, okay, that was very rapid. It didn't feel like that took enough time to kind of explain out what exactly went on and get closure. Like I don't feel like we got a ton of closure for everything in the way that it wrapped up. So yeah, I didn't really love that, but again, that may have been my mental state, just not accepting all of it. So it was fine, is really, again, my feeling. So this was a very fine week in reading. However, I did make a big turnaround last night. So last night, Friday night, I reread a favorite, and that is Preludes and Nocturnes, the first volume of the Sandman comic. And of course, this is Neil Gaiman, multiple artists on this, and the show has just come out. So Netflix has an adaptation out, and it's really stunning. I think I'm gonna have to do a full video specifically dedicated to this, and I'm so happy I reread it because I can now see how very close the adaptation is. It's really true to the text and what's on the page, and they just did a stunning job. So I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but they're dead on. So I 5-starred this. Of course, it's a favorite all time, and I am so thrilled to see the adaptation. I'm wanting to like slowly savor it, but I also want to just binge watch all of it. so I don't know. I've heard that volume 2 also is in the show. I'm not sure if I'm going to wait and read that because I really took my time with this one, or if I'm just gonna go through the show. I'm yet deciding. In progress, I have and The Devil Will Drag You Under by Jack L. Chalker for Garb August. And this is perfect for Garb August fodder, for sure. Literally the first world that one of the characters went to, because they're kind of traveling between multiverses, is this like ultra religious extreme where sins are paranormally enforced. So like you face immediate consequences if you sin. But it's an extremely gendered society where the women don't get to wear clothes unless they're married, and they have to wear veils all the time. So it was like immediately just goofy, ridiculous garbage. Then for new release-a-thon, I have Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is the second book in the Between Earth and Sky series, and very excited to get into this. Just started it, so I'm hoping to make some very good progress on this weekend. And I'm waiting for hopefully my first book for the BookTube prize for this round to arrive today. I had to buy one, and I've got 2 on hold from the library that I'm waiting to come in. This is always the problem with BookTube prize. We don't hear what books we're getting assigned beforehand. So the first week of the new round is chasing down the books, getting them into our hands so that you can actually read. So you don't actually have the whole 2 months to read. But since I only have 3 books, I'm not overly worried about those. I'm going to be able to spread them out over the whole 2 months. So I may or may not start reading one of them this weekend if I go. So that's what's on my docket. I don't know what all else. I have multiple holds as well for new releases on audio waiting to come in. So I think I'm going to actually be getting You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, because that's one of my most anticipated releases by Akwaeke Emezi, and I've got that on audio hold hopefully coming in this week. So we will see if that comes in. So I did already talk about Sandman, watching that last night, and so I will be continuing to watch that through this week, I'm sure. But before that, I did finish up Umbrella Academy, as I had mentioned last week. I was planning to. The ending of the series, or the season, is so abrupt. I thought that I had finished that episode and there was more, but it was showing played, so I went back and tried to like rewatch the last episode, thinking that couldn't be the end, and it was. So I'm in shock that the end was there. They left us hanging, that is for sure. And I'm thinking now about going and rereading the 3 graphic novels again. So I have those on hand. I really, really love this series of graphic novels. So it'll be between Sandman and Umbrella Academy rereads. Will probably be taking up my time in the near future. I also just jumped back into Wall of Chefs. It's a great Canadian cooking competition. Very wonderful, very low stakes, low drama. Everybody's kind to each other. Love the Canadians. So it's all like home cooks. There's 4 home cooks in each episode, and they compete across 3 rounds with kind of different challenges. And in each of those rounds, there's a wall of famous chefs for them to get assigned as judges. And 4 chefs out of 12 each round judge the meal that they're cooking. And it's really fun, as I said, low stakes, low drama. So it's very feel good, and I, as always, love cooking competition shows. So I had kind of been saving this second season that just recently got added to Hulu for a while. It's probably been a couple months now, actually, since it got added. But I've been saving it for when I needed it, and I really was just like, I need it, because this week was really tough. I'll skip sad stuff for now. We can talk about that later, I think, maybe in a week or 2. But in terms of like what was really the worst was that I got sick this week. So I spent most of my week sick, sleeping, and it was not terrible. It was just energy drain. Like I didn't get like overtly sick. I was just exhausted, wiped out. Tuesday I ended up having to take a sick day, which I haven't done in years, and slept. So I think I was only up for 6 or 8 hours on Tuesday, and then kind of slept for almost 2 days straight, and sort of recovered enough energy to work, and was feeling that constant energy drain, was feeling like the spins when I was laying down, like just vertigo, I guess. And then since then, I've been randomly getting hit with waves of exhaustion or not quite that vertigo, but like disorientation. Like I'll be walking the dog and then just all of a sudden feel really disoriented. So that has really sucked, and it has meant my reading was not the best, and I was not in the best headspace for reading. So I think that may have affected some of my reading, and where I was not feeling very enthusiastic about reading at all. So unfortunately a challenging week, I would say. But I'm fine. Everything is good this weekend. I'm really feeling much more up this weekend. It's super duper hot, but I got out and walked today for the first time in the whole week, even though the humidity is horrible. Got home and was just drenched. Disgusting. I got Cinnamon out for a little bit. Thought it was going to be cool because I got out extra early. No, it was terrible. We've had some additional storms, so beyond the flooding that we had last week, it did flood again. This time not a terrible flash flood, but there was some residual flooding as a result of having so much water everywhere, because we had 2 flash floods the previous week. So that is not great, but I fortunately am still very lucky to not have been affected by that again. So I think that's pretty much it. As I said, it was a very low-key week that I mostly slept through, so there's not much to share. I do want to say, like, in terms of recommendations, I don't have any real specifics, I don't think, other than I'm just really enjoying everyone's videos for reactions to the Booker Prize. So all the Booker Prize lead up and the Booker Prize stuff, as well as the BookTube Prize, so everybody's wrap-ups. I am loving those. I got so behind because I was sleeping for 2 days. I have like 400 things in my watch later. I don't think I've ever had that many before, so I will not be caught up anytime soon. But I am really enjoying what I am seeing from, you know, the past week or so, where people were reacting to the prizes and everything. So I think specifically I will mention Shelley and Fraser doing like the 2 millennials react to the Booker. Really great, or predict and react both were fantastic. So I'll try and link those down below. And the vlogs that Cousin from Always does for the BookTube Prize every year are fantastic. And Cousin always judges the nonfiction and does a long vlog of the whole reading experience every round, and they're just such a joy, and they have a lot of, you know, minor life stuff and the reactions to the books, both negative and positive, and I just love seeing those vlogs. So I will link those videos down below for you to check out. I think that's it for my week. I hope that's it. I hope that's all. I just hope you're doing well, and hopefully everyone is staying dry and healthy, because I'm not. So thanks so much for watching. Just watching the traffic go by on the highway. I'm just doing some evening grooming to make Coco feel good. Yeah. Whoa, where's Coco going? Running away? Oh. Just a pair of bros sleeping butt to butt. Got some seriously giant blackberries to snack on. I have no idea what's happening. Rue decided he needed to really help me at work today. Is it love? Hi. Oh, so nice. Oh, so nice. Do you want to cuddle with your sis? Hi. Hi, Gumbo. Oh, that's really nice, buddy. This is my life now. It just rains all the time.